Going on, everybody? It's the VG Mobster here, and today we are going to be talking about some Wii U games that I think should still be moving over to the Nintendo Switch but are not talked about too often. If you guys like this video show, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. But without further ado, let's go into some Wii U games that don't get talked about but should be ported to the Nintendo Switch. Alright, mobsters, we've had a lot of Wii U games get ported over to the Nintendo Switch so far. I'm going to name a couple here. We have Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. We've had Bayonetta 2. We've had Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. We've had Mario Kart 8, which is, got the Deluxe treatment. We've also had the newly announced Pikmin 3 Deluxe that's going to be releasing in October. And we've also had some games that, I'm not going to talk about in this video, but a lot of people always talk about coming over from the Wii U that they want, such as Xenoblade Chronicles X and the 2 Zelda games that got some HD treatment, such as Twilight Princess and The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, which were both amazing games. All 3 of those I would love to come to Nintendo Switch. But this video is not about the games that everybody talks about. These are about the games from a Wii U owner that I think should still come over to the Nintendo Switch, even though a lot of people don't talk about them. Okay, so let's start off here. Again, I was a Wii U owner. If you guys are new to the channel and don't know my gaming history, I was a Wii U owner. I played pretty much all of those games that got ported over to the Nintendo Switch. I played them on Wii U. I was one of the only 13.85 million people that owned a Nintendo Wii U, even after 5 years. In 3 years, the Nintendo Switch, just in comparison, has sold 66 million. So you can see, it was definitely a failure of a system for Nintendo, but some of the games that came out for it, obviously they're getting ported over to the Nintendo Switch and they're having great success because they're really good games. There's not anything wrong with the quality of the games. It's just the platform that they were on was kind of dead on arrival. So now let's talk about these 3 games here, that 3 to 4 games that I think really should be on the Nintendo Switch and get ported, considering that all the other ones have pretty much gotten ported over. But for some reason, these games are not talked about, but the mobs is going to talk about today. So let's start with number 1, NES Remix. Okay, this game, if you guys are not familiar with it, it kind of took old school classic Nintendo games and chopped up those games and remixed them into little micro games that you can kind of play throughout. It spanned a lot of different series such as Super Mario, Metroid, and such. A lot of Excite Bike, a lot of classic NES games that they brought back in a really cool and innovative way. And I think for Nintendo Switch this would be a perfect port because, number one, the way that the game is played, they're really like little micro games combined. And when you're on the go with Switch, sometimes you don't want to play like an hour or 2. You just want to play like 10-15 minutes and then put it down and then come back and pick it up. So this game, NES Remix, for the pick up and play would be perfect for the Nintendo Switch. Obviously the Nintendo Switch already has the NES games online, so we know that they can run them flawlessly, all these games. So performance, obviously docking handheld is going to be 100% perfect. And the other thing too is that this game, leads for expansion. So, they started with the NES Remix. That's the version that we got on the 3DS and the Wii U. But now with the Nintendo Switch, what they could do is they could even add on top of that SNES game. So it could be like and then just maybe like Nintendo, Super Nintendo remix, and then mix in those games that they had in the original, and then add on top of that Super Nintendo remix games, and make for a really compelling package that really fits the Switch like epically. So I think when talking about ports, I think NES remix, maybe Deluxe with a Super Nintendo component added to it, would be a perfect game for Nintendo Switch. Now another game that I think should be ported to Nintendo Switch because it's such a good game, but again it's just stuck on the Wii U right now, is Fatal Frame, Maiden of the Black Water. Now this is a kind of like a survival game. Now again, a lot of people would say, hey, how can you play this? The whole mechanic of the game was to really use the camera and the Wii U gamepad to take pictures. You could just revert that to the sticks and do it. The game was creepy, it had really good graphics. It was only released digitally as well on the Wii U, which I was really disappointed about because I wanted to buy it physically. So the Switch would be able to give it a really good physical version, maybe from like limited run, even if they don't want to do a first party publisher pushing it out. They could have a, now that Switch's demand, they could get like a limited run or super rare games to do that. And the game is so unique and engrossing, and it's very creepy. And I think too with the Nintendo Switch, like horror games on the Switch are really cool, especially like games like Hellblade, when you put on headphones and really get into the atmosphere when you're in handheld mode or even in dock mode, but I think handheld more so. And I think this game would really translate well into the Nintendo Switch. Obviously it was on the Wii U. The graphics could get a little resolution bump, maybe the frame rate smoothed out a little bit, because when a lot of zombies were on the screen, it did have some performance hit on the Wii U, but with the Switch obviously it's more powerful and you get the portable nature of it. So I think Fatal Frame is one that really should come over that a lot of people don't talk about. Now my third game that I think should come over from the Wii U that isn't really talked about too much is Ninja Gaiden. Now, Ninja Gaiden, this port was a port of the Xbox 360 version. We have seen those games come over to Nintendo Switch, Xbox 360 and PS3 games, and they've actually done really well. And I think this game, it's so violent, it's so fun to play, like it's hack and slash. Ninja Gaiden obviously has really deep Nintendo roots to it as well. They haven't released a new Ninja Gaiden since then, so I think this game would do really well. And obviously this is a game that's like hack and slash and action based, so they could really bump the resolution up, really filter and get those frame rates really smooth in the game. And obviously you'll have it portably, so it's so fun to play like in short bursts, this game, Ninja Gaiden. And a lot of people don't talk about it, but this game is really underrated. Really fun to play, hack and slash, really gory. But again, it's another game that you can kind of like pick up and play for like 15-20 minutes, get through a section and then just save it and then come back to it. This is a great game that I think a lot of people, now that maybe they skipped out over that PS3 and Xbox 360 generation, this would be a cool way if people who are reintroduced to gaming through the Switch to get back into Ninja Gaiden. So that's another one I think would be perfect on the Nintendo Switch to get ported, even just ported over from Wii U, with just better stability and performance. Now the last game for Wii U that is not really talked about that I think should be ported over is the Ducktales remastered game. This game, Capcom, took the original NES game and just redrew, redesigned the whole game, made it like hand-drawn, nice clean vector graphics, really smooth performance, did some remixes and updates of the original classic tunes like Moon Theme and such, and they made it such a good game, and it was so fun to play on the Wii U. Again, this also came to PlayStation 4 and Xbox, but I think this is a game that from the Wii U really should be ported over to the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, the audience, this is a game for younger audiences. My daughter actually plays this game on Wii U still. Ducktales is very accessible, and there are a lot of younger gamers on Nintendo Switch that came over that didn't really play Wii U. And then also, you got a lot of old school fans that would love to play this classic NES game on the go, portably, and not sacrifice anything. This game also came to phones and mobile, but again, there's nothing like having physical buttons for kind of like a 2D side-scrolling platformer. And DuckTales, some of the jumps do have precision to it, so I can see why people would want standard controls instead of like touchscreen controls on tablets and mobile phones for this game to play it portably. So I think DuckTales Remaster is another game from Wii U that really should come over. So what did you guys think of these games? Do you think they should come over from Wii U? Do you think we've had too many Wii U ports? I mean, I don't think so. I think the more games, the better, but everybody is different on that. Let me know in the comments below if I missed a game that you think really should be coming over from Wii U that's not talked about. And I'd love to discuss it with you guys. Till the next one, guys. Peace.